Okay, in this video, I'm going to throw a mirror frame and I'll mention a few things here. You can see the layout on the bat. It's a large bat, and there are a couple of rings. The one with the first arrow there is the one for the cutout for the mirror, and the one that shows up next will be the outside boundary or the maximum diameter of the mirror frame, or it won't fit in the kiln. The other lines on there are the divider lines that are used later on when I'm carving the part. It breaks it up into 12 sections, the radial lines. And there's also another smaller diameter in the middle, and that's used for a smaller mirror frame. Okay, at this point here, I'm centering the clay. The bat itself is fairly large. It's about 30 inches, 31 inches in diameter. And so I have to sit a little further away. And the clay itself is 12 pounds. So I don't have the leverage over it like I usually do when I'm a little bit closer throwing the clay. So I have to reach out there for it. But anyway, I'm starting to work it down here, and it's centered. And I'm going to spread it out to that outside black line, which is approximately 28 inches in diameter, which, including the shrinkage from the throwing to the leather hard to air dry, will allow me to put it into my scut kiln. Okay, so now I've got the clay. It's pretty well centered, and I'm starting to spread it out. I'm pressing down, and with my right hand controlling the piece so that it stays concentric to the wheel. And so far, it's looking pretty good. Again, this is about a 12-pound ball of clay, and I have to spread it out to that black line you see on the outside of the bat. That's the diameter I have to go to. I can't go any further because it will not fit into my scut kiln if I do so. But anyway, I'm working my way out there a little bit at a time, pressing it down and controlling the concentricity of it also. So here I'm starting in the middle and pulling it out. Another way to spread it out a little bit instead of just pressing down. At least the hands are in a different position. So it's becoming a lot thinner now as I spread it out. And trying to keep it level also. So I have to maintain the concentricity of the piece, but I'm also making sure that it's about as level as possible as it spins around. And I'm keeping it nice and wet with the moisture. It just makes it so much easier to pull that clay out like that. So I have a little sponge in my hand there as I do these horizontal pulls on it here. As you can see, it's opening up and becoming a much larger diameter. There's still a thick bead of clay on the outside there, and that's what I need at the very end when I finish up the outer lip or the rim of the mirror frame. When it's done, it'll look a little bit like a dish, just as it sits on the table with a raised lip on it. But there'll also be a ring in the middle to keep the piece flat when it's fired, so that it doesn't slump down in the middle. So here I am with the rib. I'm just compressing the clay down, packing it down, plus spreading it out also. And again, you can see the bead on the outside there. Okay, I'm starting to spread this clay out. As you can see, the spiraling rings. So I'm going to make this piece a little bit larger. I still have to go out and meet that diameter on the outside edge, which should give me the maximum surface area for the mirror. And it also gives me more surface area to carve when I flip it over when it's leather hard. But anyway, I'm opening up the center of the clay here a little bit. You can see a little bit of the bat. I've gone all the way down to the formica top of the bat. And I'm going to leave a little bit of a circular ring in the middle also, which will be kind of a support ring. And when it's completed, it'll be the same height off the bat as the rim of the overall piece on the outside edge. So I'm just sort of working that a little bit, getting it into the shape that I need. There's a ring on the bat that tells me where the 9 to 9.5 inch range is at. So I make these consistently about the same size. So when I cut the mirrors, if I cut them all 9 inches, they'll all fit on there. So here I'm leaving a little step in the center of the piece. That step, or the little flat area on the inside, or low area on the inside, is where the mirror is going to be seated. And then that ring the raised ring there is going to be the piece that supports the piece when it's being fired, so it doesn't sag down in the middle. And later on, I'm going to trim the height of that center ring to be the same height off the bat as the outer rim of the overall piece. So I'm just doing a little touch up. I don't want it too thick, don't want it too thin. I want it to be about the same thickness as most of the clay body, so that with the firing, it's less likely to crack or break. Here I'm trimming down the height of that center ring just a little bit, taking that off, and I'll be rounding that off and smoothing it out so that it looks nice and smooth, no sharp edges left anywhere. It's a lot easier on the piece when it's being fired. So here I am compressing down some of the main body of the clay and spreading it out a little bit more also with the rib. Using a sponge there just to pull it out a little bit further. You can see the spiral ring again. So I'm getting close to the point where I'm going to be working on that outer ring or the rim of the piece. Just packing it down again here. Taking some of the slurry off that's not needed for the time being so it won't as easily or quickly soak into the clay. Again, doing the same thing. I'm doing a little bit of a horizontal pull on it to spread it out a little bit further. I've gotten pretty close, so when I start working on the rim, it's going to also have a curve up off the bat, and it'll also grow a little bit wider. It'll look more just like a big dish. So here I'm starting to do a rough shaping of that outer rim, and you'll be able to see that it looks a little bit smoother in a minute or two. So here I am starting to set up that inner curve, and there it's starting to look more like a dish, with the exception of the hole in the middle. But the outer rim and that center ring, as they're in the kiln, will have to be the same height. So the opposite side, or the side attached to the bat, will be level, or continue to be level after it's fired. It won't slump. So here I am just doing a little bit of cleanup, smoothing things out, and sponging up a little bit of the extra moisture and slurry inside the piece. There I'm working using a chamois. I'm just doing a little bit of a touch up on that outer ring, leaving a nice little curved edge. Then that center ring, I'm using the chamois to put a nice little curve on that so there are no sharp edges. Now I'm cleaning up that inner diameter, which is the opening for the mirror. I'm just doing a little touch up on that, cleaning up some of the slurry in that middle opening there. You can see the bat there. Just doing a little touch up here and there with the sponge. Okay, so now I'm going to take a cut. I'm going to open up that opening with the pen tool to about a 9 to 9.5 inch diameter. So I'm just making a slight cut there, then an undercut here with the needle tool. And then I'll pull that circular piece out of there. And that'll give me about the diameter I need for the mirror opening. Now I'm just going to clean that area up a little bit more. I'm going to round off that center cut opening, smooth that out with the chamois, give it a nice smooth edge on it. Just a little bit of touch up here and there. Compressing the clay down there. This is the back side of the mirror, but I like touching it up so it's nice, clean, and smooth as possible. No one's going to see it, or very few anyway. So here I'm using the chamois again just to touch up that inside edge where the mirror is going to be attached. I like nice, smooth, curved edges. And the same with the center ring, also just touching that up a little bit, also with the chamois, smoothing it out, giving them nice little radius curve edges, kind of like a machine part. So here I'm compressing the clay down a little bit more here, just to clean up and compression, make the clay a little bit stronger, cleaning up any extra moisture in there that's not needed for anything. Okay, I'm still compressing the area down here a little bit, smoothing it all out. We're almost done with this piece here. So it's just a few touch-ups here and there. So I'm going to do a final check here with my yardstick to make sure the center ring and the outer ring are level to one another as far as their height. And it all looked pretty good. So just do a little bit of a touch-up on the outer rim. This piece now will be allowed to dry on the bat till it's leather hard. It'll pop loose. It'll be flipped over 180 degrees, and then it'll be stained and carved, and then it'll be ready to be fired. The firing will make the clay turn to a tan brown, medium tan brown, and the stain will be a satin black with a nice contrast.